your American dream?
My American dream would be to continue working hard for what is my next career, my next dream. My next step would be to be on camera and work for a big sport television broadcasting company. That would be a dream of mine.
For me, the American dream is the freedom to define that goal for yourself and for your family, and the freedom to obtain that goal.
My American dream is to be a role model for both my kids and the world, to make culture a really big part of their life and my life, to be deeply rooted and involved in community has always been a big one for my family.
Everyone has a right to the American dream. Welcome, everybody. It is Monday, June 7th, 2021. This is Brad Show Live. My name is Brad Bernstein. I got to fix my collar there. We go a second. Now we're all set to go. We got it ready. Jonathan Yo-Yo Elias, Vanessa Nesco Contreras. You guys seem more ready than me at this moment. Look at you, all casual, relaxed.
And listen, remember, we stay here. We just wait for us to start. So
yeah, the only difference is, I think, when the show starts, you seatbelt yourself in, right? But then when the show is over, you undo your seatbelt just to relax a little bit.
Just to relax.
Right? Right, exactly. Other than that, you don't really move from that spot.
No.
For sure.
By the way, I saw Yo-Yo on Instagram this weekend. I don't know anybody in the squad who follows Yo-Yo on Instagram, but I saw Yo-Yo on Instagram in some really, really like punked out, pimped out, I don't know what word, wacky automobile. What was that, Yo-Yo?
So it's called a slingshot, and it's probably the most amazing freaking car. It's like 2 wheels in the front, 1 wheel in the back. It's all open. It's super Miami, Nesquik. It's super
There's
in Miami.
So many of them down here. There's so many of them down here.
Now, I want you to know, I don't know who your friend was that was driving it, and that you were driving it a little bit, but I want you to know something. Those were the two coolest guys in all of Manhattan. I don't know if it was Saturday or Sunday, but I'm like, these are the two coolest guys I've ever seen in my life. Driving down. They had their shades on. They had their shades on. They had, there was no top period. They're just cruising down.
It was so beautiful. It was 93 degrees. It was just like a beautiful Sunday. So yeah.
And Vanessa, I noticed you doing all your makeup tutorials, hair changes, and everything else. And I want you to know something. All right, as much as I want to pay attention to it, it's really not relevant to me. I have no hair, but I try to watch anyway because I like to see what you're doing.
I will talk about the skincare. I have some skincare for you fellas.
Please. Let's say hello to the squad. Let's do it. Pepe Samuel saying hi, Brad. Squad up. And Joan Grant, squad up family. Squad up to you, Joan. Sheila DeJames. I don't know if she has a statement or a question, but this is very long. Is this also the little talk show with the sweet tea every time? Why are we in a different time slot to be 8 o'clock and you're supposed to have your own closed network and it's not airing regularly? Miss you? I don't even know what that means. All right, Stargirl Mika, squad up. How are you? Joan Ambitious Powell, squad up. Joan Erica saying happy Monday, squad. I'm raring to go. Dion Reed, squad up. My pretty daughters. Is that what she's saying? Squad up, my pretty daughters. And Paulette Bryce Cameron, squad up family. Let's see what's going on YouTube. YouTube's pretty quiet. Very quiet.
Yeah, super quiet. I'm like really shocked.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, 5 minutes into the show and Westman's just barely saying hello.
Wow.
And Danny Boy, what's up, Brad? Yo-Yo. and Miss the Sexy Lady. So Danny Boy obviously is not talking about me or Yo-Yo. There's only
who?
Because we are not sexy ladies.
Boy.
All right. At all. All right. That's what's going on YouTube and Facebook. Yo-Yo, Vanessa, why don't you take it away?
Absolutely. All right, squad, you already know what time it is. We need you guys to share because we're about to start schmoozing with Brad, talking headlines and immigration news, including today's Supreme Court decision regarding green cards for certain people under temporary protected status.
And it's Monday, squad, so it's time for some fuzzy stories about our furry friends, including a heroic rat named Malawa.
And of course, ew. Let's see what the heroic rat does first before you say ew. It could be a very cute story. All right? Ew. Disgusting. Don't watch our show. It's a disgusting show about rats. Go watch something else. Ew. Way to go, Yo-Yo. I love that enthusiasm.
Stay tuned.
That's true. You're staying true. You're staying true, though, because Yo-Yo obviously doesn't like little fuzzy rat stories. But by the way, you can also call Spar and Bernstein. Our number is rolling on the bottom at 1-800-529-5465. You also see me with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's body running across your screen. Ask me your immigration questions. We have a bunch of open lines. It's the same telephone number to call our shows. It is to call Spar and Bernstein. 1-800-529-5465. Internationally, it's +1 212-227-8933. And later in the show, I'm going to speak with Afghan American author Jamil Jan Kochai about his breakout first novel, 99 Nights in Logar, which illustrates the beauty of a people and countryside that exists among the backdrop of war and occupation. I have in my hands, Yo-Yo and Vanessa, the top 75 schmoozes of the day.
Oh my goodness.
We may have to pare down this a little bit as we go along here, because we could be schmoozing till midnight.
Yeah, we don't want to do that.
You don't want to schmooze till midnight. I mean, because you got to put your seatbelts on at some point, right?
You know, got to take it off.
Oh, you got to take it off. That's what I meant. I got it backwards. All right, got to take it off. All right. So today the Supreme Court held an immigration ruling, held that the government can block non-citizens who are in the United States under a program of temporary protected status from applying for adjustment of status. Let me break this down for you guys. If you have TPS and you entered the United States legally on a visa, or you were paroled and admitted at the border, and you marry a U.S. citizen, which would be your most basic example of applying for adjustment of status, and you also have TPS, you're still able to adjust your status. That's never been the issue. The issue is people who entered without inspection, people who came with no visas, people who came across the border, were never inspected, and then ultimately got TPS. The question became, are they eligible to adjust their status? The argument is that the government gave them some sort of status that they otherwise didn't have. The argument against adjusting status is that the law is very clear. In order to adjust your status, you have to be inspected or paroled at a border. So there was a court out in California that allowed people who entered without inspection, who had TPS, to adjust their status. Ultimately, it went all the way up to the Supreme Court. And unfortunately, all the justices, including the liberal ones, sided with immigration. They said the law is very, very clear. You have to be admitted on a visa. You have to be paroled into the United States. You need to have been inspected at a border to adjust your status, even if you have TPS. So this is really applying to people who entered without inspection, who were then granted TPS. Are they eligible to adjust their status? And the answer is no. You've never been able, by the way. That has been the general rule. It hasn't changed. The Supreme Court has ruled against allowing that. Now, there is always a workaround. If you have TPS, whether you're Haitian TPS or from whatever country, if you have TPS, you are eligible for something called advance parole. We talk about it all the time. Advance parole is a temporary travel document to leave the United States for a very short period of time and then return. Guess what happens if you enter without inspection? You're then granted TPS. You then get advance parole. You leave the United States for a short trip. You come back into the United States. You go to the airport. You go to the border. You show them your advance parole document. Guess what just happened? Even though you initially entered the United States without inspection, you came across the border, because you have now shown your advance parole and you are now readmitted to the United States, you are inspected at the border. You're married to a U.S. citizen. You could adjust your status. You have a U.S. citizen son or daughter who's over the age of 21. You can adjust your status. You are the child under the age of 21 of a United States citizen. You can adjust your status. So that's one way around it. Unfortunately, those who entered without inspection, according to the Supreme Court, Justice Kagan, who is a liberal judge, she wrote the opinion. She said it is a straightforward application of immigration law, and it supports the government's decision to deny adjustment of status because this particular litigant was not lawfully admitted. So if you have TPS, you entered without inspection, the answer is get advance parole, leave, return. Now you're lawfully admitted. Now you can adjust your status. So that's what happened in the Supreme Court with immigration today. Now, last Thursday, the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services updated their policy manual with respect to how a naturalization applicant's good moral character is affected if that applicant registers to vote or votes in a U.S. election. Now, in the past, the rules have changed now. In the past, if you had registered to vote and you are not a United States citizen, even if it was done incorrectly, even if it was sometimes done without you realizing you were registering to vote, at a minimum, it's 5 years bad moral character to file for your citizenship. And at a maximum, you may have committed a crime by making a false claim to U.S. citizenship. Now, under the new rules, if you are registered to vote, but you never affirmatively made a claim to United States citizenship, a lot of times you go and you apply, for your driver's license, and there's a question, do you want to vote? And people just check off the box without affirming they're a citizen or they're eligible to vote. Sometimes people just literally are canvassing the neighborhood trying to get voter registration drives out, and sometimes they don't ask whether you're a citizen or a resident, and they just sign you up to vote unless you have made an affirmative application or an affirmative statement that you're a U.S. citizen. That in of itself, as long as you actually didn't vote, would not prevent you from becoming a citizen, because that is no longer bad moral character. So that is actually a really good rule change by the Biden administration. There's so many people who just don't know the law and just say, oh yeah, I'd love to vote. I got my green card. I didn't know I couldn't vote. So that is a good application of law. Now, if you vote, different story. A lot of times people register and then realize they're not allowed to, and then they withdraw their registration. It still affects them on their citizenship. And in Afghanistan, Yo-Yo and Vanessa, the United States is pulling out on September 11th, 2021. They have all of U.S. military will be out of Afghanistan, the longest war in United States history, on September 11th, 2021. Problem is, they're leaving about 18,000 Afghans behind who assisted the United States military in all of these years, whether it's usually for translation, sometimes as guides in areas that the U.S. military didn't know, sometimes as go-betweens. Whatever it is that these Afghans helped the U.S. military, they were protected because the U.S. military was there. Now, when the U.S. military leaves, there's a concern that these thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of Afghans, their lives are in danger. So a group of lawmakers wrote a letter to President Biden on Friday that said, No U.S. entity, to include the Department of Defense, Department of State, has the ability or authority to protect all of these people in Afghanistan after our withdrawal. It would be a moral failure to transfer the responsibility to protect our Afghan partners onto the shoulders of the Afghan government. The time is now to honor our promise. And our promise was that if you assisted the United States government, you would be able to ultimately immigrate to the United States of America. Now, the letter states, if we fail to protect our allies in Afghanistan, it will have a lasting impact on our future partnership and global reputation, which will then be a great detriment to our troops and the future of our national security. This is a bipartisan letter by 22 different lawmakers in the U.S. Senate. Think about it. If we don't do something to help these Afghan people who assisted the U.S. military, if we go to another country in the future and we say, hey, help us and we'll help you, who's going to believe us?
Exactly.
Right.
They say, no,
Right.
no freaking way.
Right.
No freaking way. So right now,
It's grimy.
yeah, so federal officials said 18,000 Afghans are awaiting entry into the United States through the Special Immigrant Visa Program. They've applied for green cards. They've assisted the United States. They were promised green cards, and it's being held up as a result of bureaucracy. So on Thursday, the State Department was looking for a way to get them to safety and still be able to adjudicate their applications. So the thought being now that they would be airlifted to Guam and remain in Guam, which is a U.S. territory, until their bureaucracy of their applications comes through. I hope that if they get airlifted to Guam and stay in Guam, it's not a permanent place for them to live, Guam, you know, because who knows how long they'll be in Guam. But certainly, at least it's better than getting killed in Afghanistan on September 12th, because that's what's going to happen. It's going to be bloodbath if we don't do something. And it's only 90 days away. I mean, how far is September 11th away?
That's scary.
Yeah. I mean, there's actually more Afghans, I mean, you know, ironically, who are waiting on green cards, who assisted the U.S. military, who are at risk of death than people who actually died in 9/11. 18,000. 18,000 Afghans. Yeah. And don't you think that people who want retribution don't know who they are?
Yeah.
Right, that's so true. They've been, especially because this is something that's it's been happening in their, people are just always watching. And with something so critical like this for so long, I hope that this all aligns.
And by the way, we got to talk about Pumpkin a little bit. We got to talk.
Not too much.
Not too much. But now there's a new.
We're not punching him in the face anymore.
No, well, we can't. You can't threaten to punch a former president in the face. That would get you arrested. You can punch. You can punch. You can punch the wax figure all you want. All right, punching a wax figure may be destruction of private property. I mean, it could be a disorderly conduct, but you're not going to jail forever. So
Right.
there's a new thing now, a new thought that he may do. Florida. Because Florida, remember, New York lost. Nesquik, listen up to this one. This is a new theory on what Trump may do. Because New York lost a congressman's seat, or congresswoman's seat, remember, from the census, we talked about that. And Florida gained a seat. And who lives in Florida? Donald Trump. The thought being that if it's possible, and looks like the Republicans, this is not as crazy as it sounds. The Republicans are only 2 Senate seats away. I'm sorry, 1 Senate seat away from taking over the Senate. So remember, it's 50-50. The House of Representatives is 12 in favor of Democrats. It's that close in the 2022 election. Trump is now thinking he would run for the extra seat that was just made in Florida. To be in the House of Representatives.
Of course he would.
If he runs, the presumption is he would win. If the Republicans win 1 extra seat in the Senate, 12 seats in the House. Now remember, historically, the party that does not have the presidency in the interim election always gains seats in the House, historically for the last 50 years. So the Republicans, all else remaining equal, are expected to gain seats in the House. Perhaps as many as 12, perhaps there could be 20 or 30, depending on how the economy is doing. Now, if the Republicans get the Senate and the Republicans get the House of Representatives, they can make Trump the Speaker of the House instead of Nancy Pelosi.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Now Donald Trump says, we want to impeach Biden and Kamala Harris. They have the Republican votes to do it if they can concoct some sort of reason to do it.
Wow.
Okay. And then who's third in line to presidency after the president and vice president are impeached? The leader of the House of Representatives.
Oh, wow.
So that is being floated around for Pumpkin. But the reality
Why
is,
doesn't he just give up?
the reality is, if you remember the impeachment vote, you actually need 66 votes to impeach. 66, not 50, 66 votes. So in order for this to actually come to fruition, should Trump actually do it, Republicans would need to pick up 16 Senate seats. But that's what he's thinking. No, it won't happen. He's delusional, but that's what he's thinking. I mean, it's possible that
I see the logic in it. I see the logic.
Right. Is it possible he runs for House and becomes the Speaker of the House? Absolutely. Will he be able to impeach Biden and Kamala Harris? No way. Okay. Right. But if he wants to be it's possible. Yes, that's possible. And meanwhile, he addressed the North Carolina GOP convention on Saturday night. And it was his second speech that he gave since he lost office. What did he have to say for himself? The 2020 election was a hoax. The survival of America depends upon our ability to elect Republicans. Trump attacked Biden's record on immigration, the economy, on foreign policy. Trump highlighted his administration's work on the vaccine. He said it's all because of him. And he renewed his interest in pursuing the origins of whether the virus originated in a lab in Wuhan, and then called on China to pay the United States $10 trillion for the damage caused by the virus. He says he wants to send a bill to China for $10 trillion. I am sure when China gets the bill from Donald Trump, they will be glad to write that check. Just like the Mexicans were very happy to pay for the wall. So right. it's like the same BS all over again. He's like, we're going to make China pay. We're going to make Mexico pay. I mean, how many times are we going to fall for this? So when I saw that, oh yeah, we're going to send a bill. Oh yeah, we're going to make China pay. China's never going to pay anything. Just like Mexico's not paying for a wall.
Delusional.
And by the way, he got banned from Facebook for 2 more years.
Good.
Oh, wow.
Right.
They're just going to keep adding time to his sentence.
Right. But now, but now he's calling Mark Zuckerberg a criminal because he banned Trump for 2 years on Facebook. He said Zuckerberg used fake information to manipulate the election somehow. Now, I want you to know something. At some point, he's going to call out the wrong person. I don't know if it's Mark Zuckerberg or not. All right, and he is going to get his tuchus sued for slander and libel.
Right.
Because there's no way that Mark Zuckerberg stole the election from him. He's just lashing out at Zuckerberg now because he banned him for 2 years from Facebook. But I mean, if I'm Mark Zuckerberg and I'm one of the richest people in the world and I want to teach some guy a lesson, I can literally spend $1 billion on lawyers. Okay, I could outspend Donald Trump with my pinky if I'm Mark Zuckerberg. Okay, literally bankrupt him in paperwork if he wants to, but he won't. He doesn't want to get involved,
Right.
probably. But if I was Mark Zuckerberg, that's what I would do.
Easy, right away.
I wouldn't even think twice.
Right. But I'm not Mark Zuckerberg, and I don't have $1 billion or $10 billion to pay on lawyers. But that's what I do. I would be hiring lawyers in every state, suing the guy. Literally sue him in every state. I don't even know if that's possible, but I would like think of every possible way.
Well, we would try and find out
That's
how
right.
possible.
That's right.
Cannot be.
Meanwhile, a lot of people on social media, did you see there was a story that was circling social media that during this speech, Donald Trump was wearing his pants backwards and he's suffering from dementia. Did you see that?
Yeah.
One meme was captioned, "No fly on Trump's pants. I think I know where it went." The picture is of the fly that landed on Mike Pence's noggin during the vice presidential debate. Even the pajama jeans for men have flies sewn on them, one caption said. But some eagle-eyed people who went back to look at the video, of Donald Trump giving the speech. The reality is this is fake news. It's Snopes.com. This is fake news. He did not wear his pants backwards. This is hashtag fake news. So,
I believe he did.
but still funny.
It
Funny,
is.
but I mean, the funniest thing about it all is he's so I guess delusional and so off the wall and so we don't know where his mind is that if you said Donald Trump was wearing his pants backwards and didn't notice, a lot of people would say, "Really? I could believe that."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how crazy the world is that you would say, "Yeah, I can believe that." I mean, if you know, at the end of the day, you would ask the squad, you know, Yo-Yo came on Bradshaw Live and he's wearing his pants backwards, and be like, "What kind of stupidity is that? Yo-Yo's not wearing his pants backwards." But you would believe that Donald Trump is, right?
Without a doubt. That's why I believe that it's true.
You believe it's true,
Yeah.
even though it's been determined it's not true.
Yes. Absolutely.
Vanessa, is your mind playing tricks on you? Do you believe Donald Trump was wearing his pants backwards?
I mean, look at it. There's no fly.
Yeah, well, that's a doctored picture.
There's way too many people around him for that to like.
That's the video.
Fly.
I just want to say this about the Donald Trump wearing the no pants backwards. When I first saw it, I was happy and sad at the same time. I'm like, poor guy's demented. Happy that eventually now people are going to notice this. I don't know about poor guy, but he's definitely demented. And then Jill sent me an email last night saying, "No, his pants were on right. This is fake news." And you know what my first reaction was?
What?
Damn!
Yeah.
Damn! That's exactly what it was. And I even emailed Jill back. I go, "Damn, I was so excited that he's wearing his pants backwards."
That's so funny. That's so funny.
All right, let's see what's going on in coronavirus. Across the United States, more children than ever could be in the classrooms for this summer school as makeup for the coronavirus outbreak. School districts nationwide are expanding all of their summer programs. The number of students expected to sign up is going to exceed 3.3 million people for mandatory or optional summer school than the year before in 2019. 3.3 million more students than the year before the pandemic. Now, in the United States, all right, this is very important stuff now. Coronavirus cases nationwide are down to about 15,000 per day. Deaths have plummeted to approximately 430 a day, levels not seen since the declaration of a pandemic on March 11th. So these are numbers that are lower than when Trump came on TV and said, "We have a pandemic." This is lower than it was on March 11th when we all said, "Oh my gosh, we have to stay home now." New England, where more than 60% of residents have received at least one dose of the vaccine, has seen the sharpest declines in hospitalizations, death, and spread. Colorado health officials said hospitalization records show vaccines are preventing severe disease in their state. Dr. J.P. Vallon, Chief Clinical Officer at SCL Health, told Colorado Public Radio that 95% of the patients who have been in the hospital since February, 95 of the patients hospitalized for COVID, 95% of the patients who were hospitalized in the state of Colorado, February, March, April, May, parts of June, in the last 4.5 months, 95% had no vaccine. 95% were unvaccinated.
Wow.
Now, Dr. Jeff Dushin, the chief health officer for Seattle and King County, told the Seattle Times that 97% of the people in Seattle who are being admitted to the hospital are unvaccinated. Mississippi, always a very sad state, Mississippi. Always terrible, Mississippi. I'm serious.
Why?
They're always, to me, listen, I'm sure the people in Mississippi are very lovely people. Okay, some of them. All right, but they're the most backward state in I'm sorry, people are going to yell at me from Mississippi. It is the most backward state. It's where all the most, racist things happened during, the civil rights era, even to this day. Even going back to the 1800s. Well, Mississippi is last in the nation for fully vaccinated people. As of Friday afternoon, only 29% of the population in Mississippi are vaccinated. So if people in Mississippi, they're in for a bad summer. All right, the doctors in Mississippi, the nurses in Mississippi, you're in for a bad summer.
They better not bring none of that over here.
Yeah, they're in for a bad summer.
Right.
So, but is that a pretty cool statistic that if you're vaccinated, even if you get COVID, you're not going to the hospital? I talked about it last week, but I just even, there was a big thing in the newspaper, 7 New York Yankees 2 weeks ago tested positive for COVID. That was the headline in the newspaper. And they all had been vaccinated. So we're like, what the heck? 7 Yankees? They're all vaccinated? This vaccine doesn't work. But then if you read the fine print of these 7 Yankees who all tested positive, none of them had any symptoms. None of them even knew they were sick. The only reason that they tested positive is because Major League Baseball is testing everybody on a regular basis. Other than that, they wouldn't have even known they were sick. So if you say, if you take the vaccine, is it going to prevent you from getting COVID? Hopefully it prevents you hopefully it doesn't, but it may not prevent you all the way. But what we have seen, what the science has shown is, it prevents you from getting sick.
So with you, I'm wondering, with you still having COVID in your system, just because you don't have the symptoms, could it still affect your organs like it would do? Like, could you still die from that and like not know? Like, oh my God, I didn't know that my organs were like all messed up.
No, because people die from COVID because they have trouble breathing.
Right.
So if you know, you would know because you can't breathe. All right, you're having trouble breathing. But that's how most people are dying. It's just from lung capacity. So you don't have.
And didn't they say like would mess up your brain activity or something like that too?
I don't know. I mean, to me, you don't have symptoms. You don't have symptoms. End of story. The thing is, if you have you don't have symptoms, you still could pass it on to somebody else.
So that's the dangerous part.
That's the dangerous part.
Other people who aren't vaccinated.
Right. But if you're vaccinated, if the answer is I don't want to die, then the vaccines work.
Yeah. Well, Moderna, me mama. That's what I got. So.
All right. Let's Fuzzy Monday time. Let's see. All right. We have a rat story somewhere. Not yet. Oh my God. It's a dog story first. It's a dog story first, Yo-Yo. We have a heroic rat story. I don't know where it is in my cards, but we will find. It's somewhere in the middle. It's somewhere in the middle. All right, but let's talk about San Antonio man offering $20,000 for a missing dog. Roy Bitton, a local San Antonio, Texas man, is driving a huge poster of his missing dog on top of a 26-foot trailer, offering a $20,000 reward for his return. He's hoping the price that's on display will entice somebody to come forward. Roy has been driving the large sign and trailer around the city since April and dropping it off in random areas. Bitton says, I hope that someone that saw something or the person that has him will see it and come forward. The size of the sign doesn't even reflect the ounce of the size of my love to him. I know it's mutual. I cannot stop thinking about him on the other side, wanting to go back home. Now, back in November, Bitton said he was with his Golani and the other dog on a property. I guess it's a Golani is the dog. And his other dog on a property on Jones Maltzberger and Highway 281, south of Security Service Bank, that's near a canal. He said his dog took off chasing another animal and only one returned. Back in November, Bitton said she appeared frightened. The one animal who came back appeared frightened with her tail between her legs. Bitton said he jumped into his truck to get to the other side of the property where the dogs took off, but Golani was gone. The dog did not have a collar, but was microchipped. She appeared frightened with her tail between her legs. Bitton served in the Israel Special Forces and said Golani was named after the unit he served in. He said his friend surprised him with the dog for his birthday. That's sad when you lose a dog.
Yeah, because they become family, you know, and like he said, you know, he said he was in the service, so that dog, you know, probably meant more than him to him than, you know, other dogs. So yeah.
So anybody in the San Antonio, Texas area that knows anything about this dog, please call 210-383-2404. Let's try to help this guy get his dog back. 210-383-2404. And in another human loves dogs to no end story. This incredible video, which we're going to show, shows a wild encounter with a human and a bear in California to save her dog. The frightening incident was caught on a home surveillance video. The woman is actually 17-year-old Haley Mauricio. She said she heard the family dog barking in her backyard, saw a massive mama bear on a wall with her cubs. The video shows the bear repeatedly swiping at her mother's service dog while 3 other pups barked. The teen jumped into action, shoved the bear off the wall, and quickly grabbed all of the dogs, running back into the house. She said, honestly, I did not know it was a bear until right after I pushed it. It didn't register in my head that it was a bear. It was like, it's an animal and it's taking my child, and I pushed the bear.
That is beast mode.
Yes.
Wow.
Listen.
Would you go charge a bear like that?
So this is the thing. She even said, like, I don't think she even realized it was a bear. She thought it was like another dog or anything. Like, she wasn't really thinking. It was just adrenaline. You got to think fast. You see somebody taking your little baby. So I probably would have done that too, just, you know, to save my baby. But after the fact, I'd have been like, what the hell?
Right.
Would you have done that, Lucky?
Yes, I would have. And then after, I'd be like, what the hell?
Right.
That video is everything, though.
Yeah.
Like, do you see how she's rushing?
Now she said I didn't want to know what would happen if the bear hurt or even took her, so I had to do what I had to do. Look at that. Now, Christopher Nyergis, he's a naturalist and author, says it wouldn't take much for the bear to cause serious injuries, not only to Haley, but to any of those dogs. So,
Right.
And the bear, the poor bear, you know, was protecting
Her
cubs, who were also on the ledge. So the bear thought that these dogs were attacking the cubs, and the bear went to attack the dogs, and then Haley took over.
She sure did.
All right, so Yo-Yo, this is the time you can go to the men's room if you need to go for a few minutes. We're going to be talking about the heroic rat now.
Let's hear a story now.
Let's hear the story about the heroic rat. We've talked about the heroic rat named Magua before. He has been working for 5 years in Cambodia, sniffing out dozens of landmines. He's believed to have saved lives, and he's now about to embark on a well-deserved retirement. The nonprofit APOPO said Thursday, although still in good health, he has reached a retirement age and is clearly slowing down. It's time for Magua to retire. He is a Tanzanian-born African giant pouched rat who was trained by APOPO to sniff out explosives. With careful training, he and his rat friends learned to identify landmines and alert their human handlers.
Oh, wow.
Now, of all of the rat friends, Magua is the standout sniffer. In 4 years, he has cleared more than 2.4 million square feet of land. He has found 71 landmines and 38 unexploded ordnances. Taking his life in his hand every day. This rat steps on the wrong soil. Kabooey!
Selfless, that
Kabooey!
rat.
God bless this rat. This rat's unbelievable. Now, if only this rat knew that he would go kabooey any second, perhaps he would rethink his job. But he didn't know it. So all we can say is God bless the rat.
Right, I'm sure he would have asked for a raise or something.
I would think so. I mean, this rat's like, I don't know what I did, but everybody loves me. You know, if you're like, you're able to talk rat language, you'd be like, I ain't doing this job no more.
Right. That's hilarious.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So congratulations to Magua, the sniffing rat, on a well-deserved retirement.
I wonder if they're gonna have a retirement party for him.
Yes. All right. So
Sam should go.
what'd you say? What'd you say, yo?
That Groundhog Sam should go to the retirement party.
Right.
All right. So we'll do one more. In Wisconsin, a roughly 13-mile police pursuit ended without injury in the early morning of June 1st. Thank God. The police were pursuing somebody or something. It was on a Wisconsin farm where the fleeing suspect met with what police called a moving blockade of cows. The Barron County Sheriff's Department assisted the Barron City Police Department with the pursuit. The Post said it ended on a farm and would be remiss if we didn't thank the Barron County Bovine Unit for jumping into the fray when the vehicle came into their patrol area. The chase began shortly before 1 a.m. and started over a registration violation. The chase ended in the field and the man was arrested without incident. That's when the cows came out and surrounded the car. So basically, the cows came and ended the pursuit. The car couldn't go anywhere anymore. They were surrounding the car. Now, no humans or cows were injured, and we thought it was a good kickoff for the June Dairy Month. Do we have we just have pictures, or we have a video, Jill? Let's see the video. Oh, no video. But that's what happened. The cows stopped the men right in pursuit. There you have it. Fuzzy Monday, Yo-Yo and Vanessa.
Fuzzy. So fuzzy.
Was that fuzzy enough for you?
It was fuzzy enough.
Fuzzy.
Were you okay with the rat story, Yo-Yo?
I was okay.
Yeah.
Vanessa, you like rats, Vanessa,
He's a
right?
different one, that rat.
Do you like rats? Little hamsters?
Hell no.
Little?
Anyone
None
who
of
like
that.
rat?
You know, like little hamsters,
I've
little
never had a rodent as a pet.
People like it.
When I was growing up, would never have one as an adult.
Little hamster?
What, like a hamster or
Yeah,
something?
little hamster. They go on the... No?
No.
No.
Ah.
All right. In today's Pratication, I talked about incorporating a business and what the pros and cons are of forming a corporation. A little different than immigration. Let's take a look. My goal is straightforward, to make the law usable and easy to understand for everyone. All of us in the United States have equal rights and should have an equal opportunity and a right to justice. I'm here to help because I want everybody to achieve their American dream. I'm Brad Bernstein, and this is your Incorporation Braducation. I'm not here to tell you what you'll want to know. I'm here to tell you what you need to know. My objective is to make the law easy for you to understand so that you can use the justice system, know your rights, take advantage of the law, and achieve your American dream. For many entrepreneurs, incorporating a business is the best way to protect themselves and their owners and shareholders from personal liability for the business's actions and debts. So is incorporation right for you? Although the details can differ from state to state, the basic outline of the business incorporation process is the same. Let me break it down for you. First, incorporating a business means you have formed an entity that is separate from its owners. At the same time, corporations can still do many things that individuals can do, such as acquiring property, signing contracts, having bank accounts, and filing lawsuits. So when you incorporate, there is you as an individual person, and there is a separate and distinct corporation. You are not one and the same. So if you are a small business owner, you may be wondering whether to incorporate or not. Well, there are pros and cons to forming a corporation. The most common pro is that incorporating a business limits your personal liability for business obligations, meaning you protect your assets, such as your home or vehicles. So if you have lots of outside contracts with other individuals or companies, and you are running your business, and there is a dispute, the corporation is ultimately liable and can get sued in court, but you as a distinct individual person are safe from liability. Another pro is that a corporation's ownership is contained in shares that are easy to transfer from one owner to another. So a corporation is a good choice if you're planning to sell the business or attract investors. You obviously can't sell yourself, but you can sell a corporation. And unlike a sole proprietorship or general partnership, a corporation continues to exist beyond your life. So you can pass your corporation on to someone else if something happens to you, unless you decide to have the corporation dissolve upon your death. Now, here are the cons to incorporating. It costs money to set up and dissolve a corporation, and corporations have additional record-keeping and annual reporting requirements that sole proprietorships and partnerships just don't have. And if your business is small and you're just starting, you may decide to wait to incorporate before taking on the added cost and responsibility. Another important thing to check before deciding to incorporate is how it will affect your taxes. Depending on your individual situation, a corporation may save you money or may cost you more in taxes. So you need to consult with an accountant on the tax consequences of incorporating. If after you've considered the pros and cons and you decided to incorporate, you'll need to prepare articles of incorporation and file them with the state. And by the way, you can check out all of our Braducations on, guess what, OnlyFans, where I am the only fully clothed attorney. I may be the only attorney. I'm certainly the only, or maybe other attorneys at this point, but I know I was the first. And fully clothed at all times. And it's absolutely free. Not one penny do I charge you to watch all our Braducations. Just follow Bradshaw Live on OnlyFans. All right, we got to answer your immigration questions. Bradshaw Live, you got a question, I got an answer for you. Give us a call, 1-800-529-5465. We're going to go to Romella in the Bronx. Romella.
Hello.
Hi, Romella. How are you?
Hi. Good job, Red.
Thank you very much, Romella. I always appreciate a nice compliment.
Thank you. I'm asking you a question. My mom petitioned for me in my country, but I overstayed over here. I came over here on a visitor visa. And I also got my NVC letter, so I don't know what next to do.
All right, where are you from?
Yes.
No, I know you're in the U.S. Where are you originally from?
Guyana.
Guyana. And
Yeah.
did you come here on a visa from Guyana?
Yes, visitor visa.
And it was your name, no funny business or anything?
Nothing.
Okay. And you're single?
Yes.
Okay.
I have 2 kids.
How long ago did your mom get her green card?
Since in 2015.
Okay. Who sponsored her?
My mom, she got it herself. She married and she got it herself.
Got it. All right. And you've never filed for anything for your green card before, right?
No, she just petitioned for me in my country, and
Okay.
I just came over for a holiday.
How old your children were born here, or they need green cards too?
No, they did not born here. They're born in my country.
How old are they now?
One is 15 and one is 6.
Okay. And they're living here with you now?
Yes.
Okay. So the answer is this. You're going to need a provisional waiver. You're going to go back to Guyana with that provisional waiver, and you're going to return. Now, before you freak out and say, I'm not going back to Guyana, hear me out, okay? You have, in essence, 2 choices at this point. If you're at the National Visa Center, your mom filed for you in 2015, sounds like you're pretty close to being eligible for a green card. Now, the law says because you started your case after April 2001, you're not grandfathered in the U.S., so you can't get your green card here through your mom's sponsorship. You have to go back to your country of birth, which is Georgetown, Guyana. If you go back to your country of birth and you overstayed on your visa, of course you will get stuck. You have a 10-year bar. You and your children will be back home, not be able to come back. And it's obviously something you don't want to do. What we do and what many people do is what's called a provisional waiver. The provisional waiver is done here in the United States. It's based on extreme and unusual hardship to your mother. Your children don't need it because they are under 18. You're the only one who needs it. And you get that waiver approved. And what that waiver waives is your unlawful status in the United States. The fact that you came here on a visa and you never left. It waives that. That is the reason why people get stuck when they go back home. So if you have that piece of paper in your hand, this provisional waiver, done on an I-601A form, based on extreme and unusual hardship to your mother, and you have that, and you go home, let me explain to you what the interview is in Guyana. Where's your medical? Do you have any drugs in your system? Do you have any communicable diseases? I assume you won't. Where's your affidavit of support? I assume you'll have a good one. We would never let you leave with a bad one. Where's your provisional waiver? Here it is. No more questions about immigration. Have you ever lied to the U.S. government, committed fraud, or have a criminal record? I assume the answer is no. We'll go through your entire history. Congratulations, here's your green card. I just went through the entire interview process with you. So the only thing that stops you is the provisional waiver, the unlawful presence in the United States. That's waived, and then you go home for 2 weeks and come back. I've done it for thousands of people. That's what you would need to do. And get a green card. And get a green card. Because I'll tell you, as big a risk as that is, and that risk is infinitesimally minimal, de minimis risk, as long as you have the waiver. Your greater risk is living here out of status indefinitely, you and your children. You all get green cards. So hold on 1 second. That's what I would do.
Okay.
All right. Let's go to Marissa in Salt Lake City. Marissa.
Hello.
Hi, Marissa.
Oh, thank you for accepting me.
My pleasure. What can I do to help you?
Yes, sir. So my question is my husband an automatic citizen through his citizen adopted mother? The mother adopted him when he was 2 months in Samoa country. They came to the United States on a green card in 1990. And he's 4-year-old now.
What year was your husband born?
He was born 1978.
1978. So he was 22 years old in the year 2000. He is not an automatic U.S. citizen because you have, unfortunately, because you have to base it on old citizenship laws. The citizenship laws changed in February of 2000. What the law said prior to February of 2000 was that if you're basing your U.S. citizenship on the fact that you were adopted by a U.S. citizen, the adopting U.S. citizen parent would have had to have filed the N-600 form before your husband was 18. If the adopting parent did not do that, your husband unfortunately forfeited his right to automatic U.S. citizenship. The laws were different for biological children versus adopted children. In February 2000, the laws changed. They treated adopted and biological the same. But before that, unfortunately, no. So unless your husband, adopted parents, filed the N-600 form before he was 18 years old, he unfortunately is not a U.S. citizen.
So therefore, he's not a U.S. citizen,
Correct.
Unfortunately. But what if he's a green card holder and his card has expired April this year.
Well, is there a reason why his card expired? Does he have some sort of skeletons in his closet that you're concerned about renewing the green card and fingerprinting?
Well, we let it expire because we were advised by attorney because of a background that happened in 2005.
What happened in 2005?
It's a felony, and they saying it's under aggravated.
Well, yeah, if he's an aggravated felon, he could potentially be eligible for automatic deportation. Now, Biden has just recently changed the rules on enforcement for people. So it's possible that if he were to be put in deportation and he can show, he's not a threat to future criminal activity and he has a long history being in the United States, it's possible he would be able to get something called prosecutorial discretion, which they're bringing back now. I don't know whether he would or wouldn't, but yes, as an aggravated felon, he would be automatically deportable. What I would suggest we do, or you do, is have a second consultation with me. Let's confirm he's a aggravated felon. Hold on one second.
Sir?
Yes.
Sir, please, I have another one.
Yes.
So, but he was in jail for 6 months in that 05, and he did some probation. He's done with all the court stuff, but he then applied for his green card in 2011, and they granted it
Great.
to him. So is that a mistake?
I don't know. Maybe it's a mistake by immigration. Maybe it's a mistake by the immigration officer saying he's an aggravated felon. Let me just ask you this question. What was he convicted of?
It dropped down to convicted to the 3rd degree child abuse, and for 10 years of registry.
So some sort of sexual abuse of a minor.
Yes, and he was on it's a 3rd degree attempted 3rd degree.
Okay, so it depends. If he pled guilty to some sort of sexual component in that child abuse, sexual abuse of a minor is an aggravated felony. If he just pled guilty to abuse of a child that doesn't have that sexual component to it, then that's like an assault on a child and a crime of violence, for example. And if he is sentenced to less than a year in jail, that could be a crime of moral turpitude. And if you are convicted of a crime of moral turpitude more than 5 years after your entry into the United States of America, and this happened 20 years after his entry, and it's his only offense, not only is he not deportable, but he may be eligible for naturalization. So I would definitely have a second opinion on that, because we got to see exactly what he pled guilty to. All right, so hold on one second. You're going to tell me I don't know the penal code of whatever state, so we would have to look it up. All right, I don't know it off the top of my head. So you're going to tell me, you're going to tell me 3rd degree, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to be like, wonderful. I don't know the penal code off the top of my head.
Yeah, we want to hire you. We want to talk to you
all right,
about
so
all that
all right, so hold on one second. Hold on. Let's go to Masla in Seattle. Masla. Masala. M-A-S-L-A-H in Seattle, Washington. Usually I say going once, going twice, going 3 times. I'm on the second time, they say hello. So let's try it. It usually works. Going once.
Okay, hello. Yes, hello.
I told you. As soon as I say going once, going twice, hello, you hear me. It always happens. All right. What's going on?
Hey, Brad.
Yes.
I'm a truck driver. I live in Seattle, Washington. A couple of weeks ago, I got caught by DOT in a weigh station. They asking me all my paper. Then at the end, they search my logbook.
Wait. I'm already confused. You got stopped by the Department of Transportation?
Right.
DOT in Seattle, Washington.
Yes.
Why is the Department of Transportation in Utah? Why is the
Yes.
Why is it the Department of Transportation stopping you?
I'm a truck driver. Usually they do
You're
this
a truck
because they have
driver.
a weight station.
Okay, the weight stations. Got it. Okay.
Yeah,
So now
yeah.
your question is what? What happened?
My question is, they found a lot of hours. I'm supposed to drive 11 hours, but they found like sometimes I drive 16 hours.
What did they find?
Something like that. The drivers are allowed to drive 11 hours a day.
So some sort of violations of your ability to drive.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Logbook violation. Yeah.
All right, fine.
So he charged me with a false logbook violation.
Got it.
And he put for me a misdemeanor class B, misdemeanor B.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm trying to ask you is, I'm a green card holder. I've been in the country almost like 4 years, almost right now. So I'm trying to ask you, what is if I apply citizenship? I have actually a criminal defense. He's gonna reduce the infraction, or he says it might not be reduced. It might stay on misdemeanor. So
it all depends what you're ultimately found guilty of. I don't know what you're going to be found guilty of, so I can't tell you yet how it's going to affect your citizenship. Generally speaking, B misdemeanors are not deportable offenses. They're not even crimes of moral turpitude. But without me seeing the exact section of law that your criminal defense attorney would have you plead guilty to, it could be a driving infraction. It could be a non-event, meaning that it's not a crime of moral turpitude. It's a nothing. It could be a driving infraction. It could be a violation. I don't know.
Okay. This is so it's a traffic crime, as they say. So if they find me misdemeanor B, how will that affect me? If it's infraction,
I don't know anything about
your opinion.
and I'll give you my opinion, which is I don't know the first thing about traffic law in Utah or transportation law in Utah. So I don't even know the penal code of Utah. What I can do as an attorney is I can look it up and then tell you what it is, but I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay.
All right. So
okay, is misdemeanor B deportable or not?
What I told you again is, without me looking it up, I don't know. As a general proposition, general, meaning until I actually see it, it's not solid. Generally, B misdemeanors carry a maximum of less than 90 days detention, which would then not even make it a crime of moral turpitude. But until I actually read what you're pleading guilty to, that's not gospel.
Okay.
All right. So the only thing I can do for you is when you're ready to plead guilty to something, you have to tell the judge, I'm not pleading guilty. I want to pass it by an immigration lawyer. And you go back another day. Until then, we're all taking guesses. So you have a right to tell a judge on the day the judge says, your criminal defense lawyer says, listen, this is the best deal I'm going to get you. So plead guilty. And you're going to go to court and the judge is going to say, guilty or not guilty? And you're going to say, I need to speak to an immigration lawyer. I'll be back next month. Schedule me again. And you have the right to do that under Supreme Court. You have a constitutional right to do that. So that's when you get in touch with me. Until then, it's just all guesswork. Got it?
Okay.
All right, hold on.
All right, okay.
All right,
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Because other than that, we could talk forever. What if this? What if that? What if I don't know. And I don't even know the penal code of Utah. So when you know exactly what you're going to plead guilty to, you call me, I look up the law, and I tell you what your issues are. Kimberly in Nashville. Kimberly.
Yes.
How are you?
Hello?
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
I am married. I've been married for 4 years. I've had my green card for, this is going on 3 years. My husband wants a divorce, and I just want to know how the process of going about to still be able to stay here. We filed the paperwork to remove the conditions, but he did not submit any of the evidence. He only filed the paperwork, and he recently told me that. It's been like 5 months since we sent it in.
All right. Well, let me tell you a few things.
Okay.
Okay. Number one is nobody says you have to stay in an unhappy marriage to be able to stay in America.
Okay.
Are you at a gym right now?
No, I'm a nurse. I'm at grabbing Starbucks before my shift starts.
Oh my gosh! All right, so I hear kids screaming. So you don't have to stay in an unhappy marriage to be able to stay in America. You have a
Right.
2-year green card. When the purpose of filing to remove the conditions of your permanent residence is the government wants to go back and look on the day that you got your green card, was this a real marriage? They want to make sure you didn't fool them. So they want 2 opportunities to interview you. So how can you do this? You can file a joint application with your spouse, or you can convert a joint application to an application for a waiver of the joint application based on the fact that you're terminating your marriage. Once the divorce starts, you let immigration know you're getting divorced. They take your husband off the case. It's all on you now. And all you have to do is prove that between the time you got your green card and the time the divorce started, it was a real marriage.
Okay.
And
How do I prove that? I mean,
you prove you live together. Here's the documentation that I was in the same house with this man, and here's our financial documentation that we had a financial relationship together.
Oh, okay.
All right, so I can help you with all of this. Hold on one second, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, she wants help. Let's go to Eric in Seattle.
Okay, hey Brad.
Hi.
So my question is regarding taxing. IRS proof that I've been paying taxes for the past many years for citizenship.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, how many years of tax return do we have to show to the IRS? Considering that I've been in the country for a little over 9 years, do I need to show all the 9 years or just the 5 years under?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 years good moral character, 5 years paying taxes.
Okay, so even though I've been in the country and paying taxes for 9 years?
Don't matter. They just want to see the last 5.
Okay, now my next question relating to that is, so is the tax transcript, the return transcript, the document that we have to show, or the account transcript is also fine?
The tax transcript is better because that would show that's an official document.
Okay, then in that case, IRS only has 3 years.
So then bring 3 years and bring what you have for the last 2, and that's fine. You bring what you can bring.
Okay, and it says a certified transcript. Does that mean it has to be stamped by IRS, or the one we print online should be fine?
Stamped by IRS is certified. The one you print online is not.
Oh, okay. Oh well, because I called the IRS on this about a couple times, and they said. And they actually insisted on that the one we print through the account, considered certified, and they don't.
Then it's certified then.
Okay. So it doesn't have to be stamped, or by your experience, does IRS actually stamps or?
In years past, yeah, but maybe because of COVID, they're not allowing you in for stamps anymore. You used to go down there and ask them to print it yourself, and they would put a stamp on it. But maybe because of COVID, they're not doing it anymore.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Let's go to Raz in Dallas.
Hello?
Hi, Raz.
Hi, how are you?
Good. What's going on?
Okay, so I have a question about immigration. My citizenship was denied in 2018. So I will tell you what exactly happened. I entered the United States in 2012. I had a special visa. I was a translator with U.S. Army in Iraq. So I was eligible to get a visa, and I got a green card after 1 week from my arrival. In 2017, I finished my 5th year, and I applied. After I applied, I had a shoplifting case. Unfortunately, something that will never happen again. So when I applied for my citizenship, I didn't have that shoplifting case. But while I finished, from applying that I was waiting for my interview, that shoplifting case happened. So when I had my interview, the N400, the USCIS officer was like, do you have any criminal record or whatever? I was like, yes, I had a shoplifting case 3 months ago. I was on hold, which is in cell for 3 hours, and I bailed myself out. And I was on deferral. So basically the court put me on deferral for 6 months, and they told me if you finish your time with no problem, it's going to turn like a ticket, and we're going to dismiss your case, so it won't affect your citizenship. So back then, when I had my interview, I was on deferral. So the USCIS officer told me it's going to be immediate deny because you are on deferral. And he was like, file for appeal after that, and we will review your case. So I finished my deferral on December 2018.
Stop.
Yeah.
Okay, let me tell you 2 things. Okay, 1, you can't prove good. You have to prove good moral character. You can't prove good moral character if you have an open case. And you had an open case for parole or probation or whatever you were saying that you were on. And then at the end of that 6 months, they were dismissing the case. Now, I don't know if this is a rehabilitation statute in Texas that you pled guilty to, or you pled guilty to a diversion program. Do you know what you did?
I don't know because I had a defensive lawyer.
Okay, all right, fine. I understand. Okay. So, first of all, when you go on your interview and you have this pending case, you can't prove good moral character. It's the end of the story. Now, you have one shoplifting offense in your entire life. Hopefully, you were in a diversion program, which means it's not even a criminal conviction for immigration. All right, it's over now. I would refile your citizenship again, not appeal. Because by appealing, you're saying immigration made the wrong decision and they made the right decision. So you need to refile again. Now, if it's not, okay, you'll tell me what happened in a second. If it's not diversion program, and it was a rehabilitation statute where you pled guilty and then they took the guilty plea back, it's a conviction for immigration purposes. But even one conviction, petty offense, should be okay for good moral character.
Okay, so I will tell you what happened exactly, sir. So I refiled. They call it the administration hearing, which is 336. So I took. It's supposed to be an experienced lawyer, but it sounds like he wasn't.
Well, we already went through that. The appeal was a waste. We already know it was going to be denied. What happened after you?
It was denied.
Of course it did. I told you it was going to be.
Yeah.
What happened after
5
the
days
appeal?
ago.
What happened after the appeal?
So I went back to my lawyer. I was like, "You promised me I'm going to win the case."
What happened after the appeal? I don't want to hear your conversation with your lawyer. What did you do?
He said, "Take it to the district court."
All right, stop it already. Didn't we just discuss, and you just said, I know this. I said they made the right decision. Withdraw it and refile again. You now have a good moral character.
Okay, so do I have the right to apply now?
You have withdraw whatever federal appeal you made. You will also lose. You don't have good moral character. At the time you went on that interview in 2018, you had an open case. You're appealing a losing case. What you need to do is stop the bleeding, end it. Refile now. It's 2021. You go 5 years good moral character from 2016 to 2021. I had one arrested. It was either a petty offense or dismissed. That's good moral character.
Okay, so I was also on my deferral on December 18, 2018. They told me 5 years from 2018.
Hold on one second. I'm not having a debate with you. I told you what to do. All right? Do it. Hold on. Let's go to Olu in Houston. Olu.
Hi,
how are you?
Good afternoon. How are you doing today?
Good. What's going on?
Yeah, I just want to ask you a quick question.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, I was in a removal process in 2018. Yeah, they came to my house to pick me up. That was it. No criminal history or none. And actually, I'm married, and I'm married for almost 2 years now. But lately, there's been a lot of violence from my wife towards me, and some of this violence and all that I recorded on my phone. So actually, I filed, for my album here from the UCI. But for now, I don't know what the court proceeding will be like, because I don't have a kid, I don't have any family here in the U.S. aside my wife and
you said you had a 2-year court, or you have nothing? I missed the first part.
I haven't had a court date. Yeah, my court date, my next court date is.
Why are you in removal? Why are you in removal?
For nothing. They just came to my house for overstaying. They came to my house.
Okay, so your wife has never filed for you.
My wife has filed, but we weren't married before I was in the removal process.
Your wife filed for you, and immigration just came and knocked on your door for no reason.
No. When the immigration ICE came to my house, I was not married then.
Okay, then you got married.
Then later, after I was on the street, then I got married. That's when I came back.
And did your wife file an I-130 bona fide marriage exemption for you?
Yes, she did.
And did that get approved?
Is that what?
Did that get approved?
it hasn't been approved. We just filed like a few months ago.
All right. So you're saying now there's violence in the relationship.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. So then file a VAWA case, an I-360 immediately. Prove it's a bona fide marriage. Prove the abuse. And then you're going to show up in court with a VAWA case. Move out.
Okay.
Don't live in an abusive relationship.
Okay.
All right.
My question is because I heard in court they used to have this cancellation or removal.
They do, but then you're leaving it up to a judge to determine everything. You're better off to file an application with USCIS. Let them make a decision on an application, and if it doesn't work out, then you could always do cancellation before a judge. File the I-360. Hold on 1 second, okay? We can help. Let's go to Pam in Brooklyn. Pam.
Hi, Bob.
Hi, how are you?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Did they change the situation with sibling living in the U.S.?
No, there's no change with siblings living in the United States.
Okay, thank you.
That's all you wanted to know? You're talking about siblings filing immigration papers for another sibling?
Yes.
It's been the same for 30 years.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
That was easy. Lynn in the Bronx. Lynn. Lynn in the Bronx. I guess I'll have to do it again. Going once. Going twice. Going 3 times. Didn't work this time. Lynn's not responding. Let's go to Nona in Somerset, New Jersey. Nona.
Hello, can you hear me?
I do. How are you, Nona?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. What's going on?
So I'm an international student. I'm an F1 student, just finishing up grad school, and I got married with my boyfriend, now my husband, who is a citizen, 2 months ago, and we're going to file for a green card after marriage. But I also wanted to file for OPT work permit because I know that processing time to get work permit through OPT is sooner.
Right.
I just wanted to verify. I know it's the same form, so do they, like, if I apply for OPT work permit and then for marriage work permit, do they cancel one another out, or does it make sense?
It doesn't make sense to file for an OPT because you're going to make a misrepresentation. Because you can't continue on a student visa and say, I'm going to temporarily work in the United States and return home. So I want this optional practical training so I can get my practical training to go home, to learn what I've learned in America and go home. That's what you're saying when you're applying for OPT. And then in another application, you're saying, I want to live here with the rest of my life with a green card with my husband. In one of those, you're lying.
So
and that's misrepresentation. It's a
problem.
potential misrepresentation. So to me, just file your adjustment with your husband, get your work permit, and when it comes 2 months later, 60 days later than the one through the student visa, so you'll wait 60 more days to work. At least you get to live here for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I've heard that a waiting time for work permits for marriage is up to 11 months.
No, it's about 6.
6, okay.
Okay.
Well, thank you. Thank
You're
you so
welcome.
much. I appreciate it. Cleared up.
Let's go to Mom in Newark. Mom.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you, Brett?
How are you?
Good. Actually, I want to ask about the prosecutorial discussion. I want to ask if someone that have approval I-130 can take advantage of that.
Yes.
And that is a law now. You can do it.
You can request prosecutorial discretion now. Biden just recently changed the rules a few days ago.
Okay, so when can you do that?
When you're in removal before a judge and you have no relief from deportation, and the judge is about to deport you, and say, "Wait a second, I've been here a long time. I didn't do anything bad. I'm not a priority to leave. You would be separating families." Blah blah blah.
Oh, so sorry. So you cannot ask your lawyer to do it
What I don't know. I don't know what you're asking me. What is your situation? Stop.
Actually,
tell me what your situation is. You're asking me random questions.
Yes.
What is you're in removal. Okay.
Yes.
You have an I-130 being processed by who?
By your wife. Approval.
Your wife is a U.S. citizen?
Yes.
Okay. How did you come to the United States?
By student visa.
You don't need prosecutorial discretion. You need to file an adjustment application. So that's why I'm saying, tell me your situation. Prosecutorial discretion has nothing to do with you. You're going to get a green card based on adjustment of status. Prosecutorial discretion is when you're not eligible to adjust.
Oh, okay.
Hold on if you need help. Let's go to Jose in Houston, Texas.
Hi, Bray.
How are you?
Good, pretty good. I got two questions.
Yes.
The first one, I just got in November my extension for 18 months.
The I-751.
The 751.
Right.
What kind of documents I need to travel in coming back to the United States?
Your expired green card, your valid passport, and that letter extension.
Okay. That's the first. The second one is I got two arrests. One in 2004 for traffic tickets. Another one 2006 for trespassing property and possession marijuana.
What happened with the case?
It was dismissed.
Okay.
You think that they can still, even if it was dismissed, you think that they can still they're gonna let me coming back to the United States?
100%.
Okay.
You can travel 110%.
Yeah, because
they knew about it at the time of the interview, right?
Yeah.
So
I give it to them all of that.
100% enjoy your trip.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Let's go to Chris in Jersey City, New Jersey. Chris. Chris.
Hello.
I had to do that this time. What's up, Chris?
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. I wanted to file for an N600
Yes.
case, but I was informed that it's a little too late for that. I'm 53 years old.
You're never too late. If it's based on biological parents, it's never too late.
Okay, so my mom is a naturalized Bermudian, and my father's from America. They were married when I was born, but I was born abroad.
Your dad is an born American citizen, you said?
Yes, my father's an American citizen, and my mother was a Bermudian citizen, but she got her green card. She brought me into the States when I was 8 years old.
With a green card?
With the green card, yeah.
Okay,
hold on.
Okay.
I'm not sure if she was if she had the green card. I'm not sure if she had. I think she had it.
But she was never a citizen before you were 18.
They were married before I was 18.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was your mom a citizen before you were 18?
I believe so.
Okay, so you're a citizen under one or two scenarios. Okay, and it's never too late to file an N600. You could be 80 years old and file an N600. You are a citizen under one or two scenarios. If your mom became a citizen before you were 18 and you were living in the United States with a green card, your mom's a citizen, your dad's a citizen, you had a green card under 18, you're a citizen. The other scenario would be is your dad was a U.S. citizen at the time of your birth.
Okay.
If he was living in the United States for 10 years prior to your birth, over the age of 14, you're a U.S. citizen.
Right. So yeah, I have all that paperwork. I proved all that. Now, the other side of it is I'm undocumented right now. I have a Social Security card.
Chris, as they say in my religion, Mazel Tov, you're a U.S. citizen. Hold on. It doesn't matter if you're undocumented. We'll help you. All right?
Okay.
You're a U.S. citizen. Hold on. Let's go to Simone in St. Mary, Jamaica. Simone.
Hi, Brett. How you doing?
How you doing?
I'm good. My husband filed for my daughter in 2019.
Uh-huh.
All documents were paid and approved in August of last year. We haven't received any information from them. When we call NBC, they're saying that they're waiting on Kingston to set a date. So I'm wondering what's the next step I can take. She'll be 20 this year.
This is since 2018.
2019.
Okay. Your husband's a U.S. citizen?
Yes, he is.
All right, so I'll tell you the good news and the bad news and the good news. All right, in that order. Okay, the good news is because your husband filed for your daughter before she was 21 and he's a U.S. citizen, under the Child Status Protection Act, even if she turns 21, she's still considered under 21. So she never loses that child protection. So will always be immediately eligible for her green card. Okay, so don't think she's going to age out when she reaches 21. Good news.
Okay.
Bad news is
bad news.
We have COVID, we have a pandemic, we have shortage of staff at the U.S. Embassy, we have a year backlog of people who are waiting for interviews. It's a disaster.
Okay.
Good news is eventually she'll get an appointment, and if you want help, and sometimes we can help, move things along if you want.
Okay.
That's it. Okay, that's all the good news, bad news, and good news I got for you.
Okay.
All right.
I'll get in touch with you guys.
All right,
then.
great. All right, nice speaking with you. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And by the way, if you didn't get your immigration questions answered by me, you can always follow me on Instagram at Real Brad Bernstein. If you follow me on Instagram at Real Brad Bernstein, you can drop me a DM. I will be happy to answer your immigration questions. Sometimes I take a day or 2 or even 3 days to respond, but I do respond to everybody. You are talking to me personally. You're not talking to a robot or a staff member. You are talking to Real Brad Bernstein, the real guy, me, which is why you're following me on Instagram. You can also follow us at Brad Show Live. If you follow us at Brad Show Live, you don't like 2 hours of Brad and Yo-Yo and Vanessa. It's just way too much to handle. You can handle 30 seconds of us. Places at Brad Show Live. And if you are a fan of TikTok, like many people on our show, you will love Brad Show Live on TikTok for the best 60 seconds or less of Brad Show Live, like that. In a tick and a talk. And Yo-Yo and Vanessa.
Yep, you guys can follow me at Jonathan Elias TV on Instagram.
And you guys can find me at Vanessa.Contreras TV.
And later in the show, I'm going to speak with author Jamil Jan Kochai about his acclaimed debut novel, 99 Nights in Logar, which portrays the beauty he has always found in Afghanistan, although through the context of war.
And now in today's Spar and Bernstein Close-Up, partner and immigration attorney Shannon Laguerre-Mengret explains the Violence Against Women Act.
So the Violence Against Women Act basically was, interestingly enough, sponsored by then Senator Joe Biden, now our president, and it was co-sponsored with another Senator, Orrin Hatch, and it was really to protect women. So Violence Against Women Act. 4.8 million women are deemed to suffer intimate partner violence. Also very interesting, because we deal with a lot of male clients at our office. 1 in 10 men actually experience domestic violence, according to the Center for Disease Control. So you had a tremendous amount of money used to basically investigate and prosecute these domestic violence crimes that are occurring against women. They basically also established the Office for Violence Against Women under the Department of Justice. So it's an office that's dedicated to basically prosecuting these kind of crimes. This Violence Against Women Act, it really becomes pertinent for immigrants because it was incorporated into the Immigration and Nationality Act. And so there are a lot of people who are in relationships that are abusive and they feel compelled to stay in that relationship. And the Violence Against Women Act actually liberated them. It allowed them to be able to say, I can do this on my own. I can self-petition to be able to get a green card because either A, I'm married to someone who is abusive, who is a green card holder or U.S. citizen. So I'm in an abusive relationship. If you are a parent and your child is abusing you and that child is a U.S. citizen, you also can basically petition for yourself. You're not obligated to stay in that relationship. You can self-petition and do it on your own.
All right, let's do something we like to call social media check-in. We check in with everybody's comments, questions, issues on social media.
All of that. All right, our first one comes from a Brad Squad VIP member. You guys, in order to become a VIP member, all you have to do is go on Facebook, put in the search engine Brad Squad, and a page will pop up where you have to join. You just press join and request, and then we will accept you. And then you can throw in your question anytime throughout the day. We'll take the first 5 questions and we'll ask those questions before any of the social media questions. So the first one comes from Rajashri Balasubramanian.
Very good. Very, very good. Very good.
Thank you.
Yes.
Can you explain AB60 driver's license, DL, in California?
What?
Is it safe for me to...
AB60 driver's license?
AB60 driver's license in California.
I have no idea what AB driver's license in California
All right, well, let me keep on reading. Is it safe for me to apply if out of status but have a valid U.S. Driver's license in Utah that's expiring soon? Also, can I provide a social security number and lease agreement that shows California residency?
You can apply for a driver's license as long as you are not making up any stories and there's no fraudulent documents. By all means, go apply.
Lawrence Nidab, another Brad Squad VIP member. Why is there a delayed backlog on biometrics for those who applied for an adjustment of status over a year ago?
Well, Donald Trump decimated the immigration service, and there was COVID, so people weren't working. So a combination of the two has this huge backlog.
Okay, Brad, I found what an AB60 driver's license
What is it?
It's for individuals who are unable to provide proof of legal presence in the United States but meet California DMV requirements and are able to provide proof of identity in California residency.
Then go for it.
Okay. Martin Alishan, Brad Squad VIP member. My daughter's documents were approved in August of last year. She's under 21 years old, living in Jamaica, and her priority date is December 2019. She still hasn't received a date for the interview. What else can we do?
Is your daughter under 21, over 21? Are you a citizen or resident? And then I'll tell you what to do. I need to know that.
The daughter's under, yeah, it just says the daughter's under 20.
Is he a resident or a citizen? If he's a citizen, she should be getting an appointment soon. If she's a resident, then we really need to expedite it before she turns 21, and they'll expedite those cases because she'll age out.
Christina Chanix, another Brad Squad VIP member. My husband is from Guatemala. His case is now in the National Visa Center for a visa appointment. How long will it take for him to get his interview date scheduled in Guatemala?
I'm channeling the 8-ball.
Right.
How would I know when he's going to get his appointment in Guatemala? I don't have the slightest idea. Next question.
Hey, Kair Ikromi, another Brad Squad VIP member. If the interview notice for my I-751 doesn't mention bringing my spouse with me, does my spouse still need to attend the interview with me?
If it's a joint application, yes.
Chan Dane Ramkisoon on YouTube. If my mom petitioned for me and I came to the U.S. on a visitor's visa and overstayed, what can I do to correct my status?
Well, if your mom filed for you, eventually you'll get, your priority date will be current. You'll have to do a provisional waiver, go home and come back.
Okay, Sheldon Reed on YouTube. How long will it take for an I-601 waiver to be approved if I've already completed the I-130 interview and my I-130 was approved? Also, what happens after the 601 waiver is approved?
Well, hopefully the 601 waiver is approved. They're taking close to a year now, so it's really a long, long wait, unfortunately. And if it is approved, then you'll get a green card.
Mohammed Manirul Islam on YouTube. Do you have an update regarding U visas, and what does revamp mean in regard to immigration?
What does what mean?
Revamp. What does revamp mean in regard?
I don't know what I don't know what revamp means in terms of immigration. U visas, there's a 7-8 year backlog on them. If your case is pending more than 180 days, you should file for a work permit based on humanitarian reasons. Everyone should be doing that. Joe Biden has said that he wants to increase U visas from 10,000 to 30,000. That would take the backlog down substantially, but at the moment, that has not happened. Revamp, I guess, means Biden's projected change in immigration laws, I guess. I don't know what revamp means.
Candy K on Facebook. I filed the N-400 and I've received an email that they would review and process by June 12th, but I have yet to receive anything. Should I be worried?
No, because they never process on the right time these days.
Murray Ben Carr on YouTube. Would a student entrant admitted lawfully now be eligible for TPS and to apply for permanent residency?
You could apply for TPS if you qualify, even if you came here as a student. So in other words, if you're Haitian and you came here as a student and you were here on May 23rd, I think it was, or May 24th, whatever that date is that Biden passed the rules, 23rd or 24th, you were here in May, you'd qualify for TPS. That doesn't entitle you to get a green card. You'd have to figure out another way. But the answer is yes, you would apply.
Xavier K on YouTube. What is the latest update on Biden's path to citizenship for essential workers?
Same as last week. We're waiting.
Marjorie Thompson on Facebook. If my son is 17 years old, can he file for citizenship yet? And if so, what is the cost?
No, you have to be 18 to file for naturalization.
Kushal Nirola on YouTube. How many months will it take to do a motion to change venues? I'm in Dallas and would like to move to NYC. I heard there aren't nice judges there.
In Dallas, they're not nice. In New York, they're nice. So if you want to move to New York, that would be a smart move. It's called venue shopping, but you're allowed to do it. If you move to New York, you can make a change of venue, but it could take close to a year probably. They're really backed up.
God is Merciful on YouTube. I did my biometrics in May for a marriage-based green card. How much longer before I get an EAD and my interview? I'm in New Jersey.
I don't know.
Jodianne Laidlaw on YouTube. When does the count begin for 3 years to apply for citizenship through a citizen spouse? Is it from the date of marriage or the date of your green card?
The date of the conditional green card or permanent green card, whichever came first. 2 more.
Okay, Nini God Pickney on Facebook. I'm filling out my I-751 form for me and my son. My son got his green card in October of 2019. I got mine in January of 2020. I did 2 separate applications on my application. The question is this child filing with you? Is that a yes or a no?
This is an I-751?
I-751, yeah.
Okay. If the child, this is the rule, if the child got his or her green card within 6 months of you, they're filing with you. You don't need a second application. If they got their green card more than 6 months from you, they need a separate application. They're not filing with you.
Okay, last one, Marcia Velez on YouTube. I got a letter to leave and I stayed. So can I still apply for a green card?
Depends who wrote you the letter. Was it an immigration judge for deportation? Then you have an order of deportation. If it was your friend asked you to leave, you don't have to listen to your friend. If USCIS asked you to leave, you don't have to listen to them either, unless you had a deportation order from a judge. So it depends what the letter is. All right. Jamil Jan Kochai short stories and essays have appeared in many publications, including The New Yorker and The New York Times. Jamil's debut novel, 99 Nights in Logar, was published in 2019 to much acclaim. The book portrays the joy, love, and beauty of the people and countryside of his home of Afghanistan within the context of war and occupation. Jamil joined me to discuss the story and how his own family's history is interwoven throughout. Let's watch. Jamil Jan Kochai is based in California, but he originally hails from Logar, Afghanistan. Although he was born in a refugee camp, in Pakistan. His debut novel, 99 Nights in Logar, was a finalist for the PEN Hemingway Award for Debut Novel and the DSC Prize for South Asian Literature. Jamil joins me today to discuss 99 Nights in Logar, his family's immigration story, and why this book is so personal for him. Welcome, Jamil, and thank you for coming on Bradshaw Live.
Thank you for having me, Brad. It's a pleasure.
Let's get right into it. What is 99 Nights in Logar all about?
99 Nights in Logar, essentially, it starts off sort of as this adventure tale. It's about this young pack of boys in Logar, Afghanistan, which is in the countryside just south of Kabul, our country's capital. And one day their guard dog gets lost in the village, and it's up to this young group of boys to then go after this guard dog. Along the way, though, I think, the story is sort of, it shifts in terms of form and genre, and it becomes much more about storytelling and layers of storytelling and the history of the country and of this particular village itself.
And the main character, Marwan, who is that based on?
A great deal of this novel is autobiographical. Many portions of this novel began as memories, and then they sort of shift as the fictional elements come in. We actually did have a guard dog named Budabash at our compound in the village in Afghanistan, and one day he actually did get lost, but instead of it being like this profound adventure, I ended up just sort of getting frightened. And I remember that sticking with me for such a long time, and I always used to wonder what would have happened if I'd gone ahead on that adventure.
Are there other people in the book that are based on people that you know or people in your family?
The father figure in the story resembles my own father quite a bit. Same with the mother, same with a few of the cousins. So yeah, I would say a few of the characters are pretty strongly resemble actual people in my life.
Tell me a little bit about the adventure that Marwan goes on with the boys.
He has a very contentious relationship with this guard dog. Like any other regular American kid, I think he wanted to befriend this dog. He wanted to have this great time with this dog, but this relationship starts off very poorly. He gets his tip of his finger bitten off, begins to understand that this dog is actually much more violent and defensive than he had initially thought. When the dog gets lost, the boys all go out after it. And then the rest of the narrative is sort of all about the effects that this adventure has had on the boys as they're trying to make it back home, and then contending with other issues, sort of having to deal with, the American occupation at large, the ongoing years of warfare, and Marwan's own sort of mysterious family history.
So does this book take place in the present, in the near present?
It's rooted pretty squarely around 2005, 2006.
So what is your family's immigration story? Because you're talking about you in Afghanistan, and I know I'm talking to you in California right now.
My father, he arrived in the States in 83, I believe it was. My mother and my father are both from the same village in Logar, Afghanistan, the village that this book is set in. They lived happy lives there. They were quite content there for many years. But then, of course, the Soviet invasion occurs, and there's a prior revolution. The Soviet Union invades, and all of a sudden, violence erupts all throughout the country. And it hits Logar, Afghanistan, especially hard. There's ongoing series of bombings. There's massacres being committed there. The violence gets to the point where both my mother's family and my father's family, they both end up feeling like they have to flee the country to Peshawar, Pakistan. My father ends up making it to the States through a connection he had with his half-brother who had actually trained in the Afghan Royal Air Force, I believe it was, in Alabama.
How did he get sponsored to come to America?
His half-brother had been in the Afghan Royal Air Force. He was a pilot, and he had been trained in the States, in Alabama, actually. And so through his half-brother's connection to these military personnel in Alabama, they were able to get, these very sought-after American visas at the time. And they were able to claim asylum. And so my father's half-brother, along with almost his entire extended family, was able to make it to Alabama, Mobile, Alabama, of all places. And that's where much of my family still resides. So my father spent quite a few years there in Alabama, about 9 years. When he was about 30 years old, he goes back to Peshawar, Pakistan. He learns about this family there with this eligible daughter who's from his home village. He marries my mother there. He comes back to the States for work, begins our visa application. I'm born in Peshawar, Pakistan. By the time the application for the green card comes through, I'm about 2 years old, and then that's how my mother gets into the country, and I arrive with her.
Now, you grew up in the United States post 9/11, right?
Yes.
How did it affect you growing up in the United States, being Afghani?
It was one of these events in my life that really shaped who I would become as a person. In the years and months immediately preceding 9/11, I did feel, intense sense of Islamophobia. There was bullying at school. From a very young age, I never felt like an American. I think that really shaped how I understood my own identity, my own relationship to Afghanistan, my own understanding of sort of nationalism of what that can do to people and what that means as an identity. And so growing up in Sacramento, I had a little bit of a rebellious streak. I was often arguing with my history teacher about the history of America's, these invasions that occurred in Vietnam and Korea and wherever else. And so when I began writing this book, and as I'm entering my adulthood and as I'm doing more and more research, I just think I've always had sort of a very heightened idea of sort of the follies of nationalism and of what these sort of national mythologies can do to people and what it can make people blind to. And so I think one of my main intentions with this book especially was to show the ways that the war on terror and, the invasion and occupation of Afghanistan, especially the tremendous violence and the terrible effects it's had on these very innocent people in Afghanistan.
Tell us what it's like to be in Afghanistan.
Throughout my life, it has just been a tremendously positive and beautiful experience. I went to for the first time when I was 6 years old in 1999, and that's when the Taliban were in control of the country. And I remember returning home to to West Sacramento and telling people about my trip, and I only had good things to say. It was only about how much fun I had with my cousins and these streams that we would swim in and these fields that we would run through and these beautiful orchards that we'd pick apples and berries and these tremendous mountains we would climb, and everyone was so shocked by how much I love how much I had come to love the country at a very young age. And again, there was always this lingering sense of violence. When we would sleep at night, we would hear like bombs going off in the mountains, and we weren't sure what exactly that was about. And, my uncles were beaten one time for being late to prayer. But again, largely when it came to my direct experience of the country, very beautiful.
Did you ever feel unsafe there?
There were these moments where, in particular, it was actually that time when we went after Budabash, our guard dog, and my cousins went off by themselves, and me and my brother were alone on the road for the first time. We just sat underneath this tree because we were frightened. We didn't want to, get caught up or something like that. But I also remember sitting underneath this tree and the sun is beginning to set, and I'm deeply, deeply afraid. But as the sun is beginning to set, like the entire countryside is being cast with this gorgeous purple hue. And I'm watching the mountains and I'm watching the fields. Everything's being cast with this purplish hue. And I never seen something so beautiful in my life. So it was often this odd mixture of fear, but also tremendous joy and beauty. And that stuck with me for a long time.
What you're describing is a beautiful country with beautiful people that unfortunately has been in a perpetual war since the 70s.
Exactly.
First the Soviet Union, the United States, and everything else. When you wrote your book, did you have to do research on Afghanistan?
I did do quite a bit of research. There were, several important historical texts I was referencing. The secondary research was having these conversations with my family members, doing these interviews, looking back over, photographs and video footage, asking my mother and father to sort of describe what the village was like during their childhood, and then referring back to my own family in Logar as much as possible as well.
Your uncle had gotten beaten up once for not showing up for prayer or showing up late.
Yeah.
What was your family's experience like dealing with the government, the Taliban, who was in charge at the time?
In 1999, so the Taliban were in control at that time when that particular beating, it sticks in my memory just because I really like that uncle too. He was actually a very devout man. And so I was very surprised to hear this as well. But, he was actually working at his shop, and then he was rushing to prayer to get to the prayer on time, and he got caught up by this Taliban force or whatever it was, and then he was beaten for it. But I will say that within the larger context of everything that was going on, the odd thing was that this period was a period of relative peace and security. And so compared to, the prior era of the civil wars, and then before that, the massacres that are being committed by the Soviet occupation, many people look back on that time rather fondly as a time of like security and peace, and at least someone was in control, even if it was repressive. That was actually part of the reason why we went back in 99, was because it felt like the countryside had retained a certain level of security. Now, again, in 2005, the Americans come in, they devastate the Taliban. It's a very powerful invasion. They retake control. And in 2005, it's a period of relative security again, this time from the American and the government forces. But again, there's also, this lingering sense of repression. There's checkpoints set up all throughout these villages. You would see just, armed men and tanks all over the place.
What was it like being an American and an Afghan in the middle of Afghanistan when the United States is invading?
I did feel incredibly conflicted at the time, but I will say that largely the people were incredibly friendly. They were incredibly loving, despite the fact that I did feel guilty about coming from this country. And I know that in the village, there were many, many people who were opposed to the occupation. But at the same time, I can't recall a single instance of them holding it against me personally.
Would you say a majority of the people, at least that you came into contact with, were they happy? Did they feel that they were liberated from the Taliban?
I think that people felt like they were stuck between a rock and a hard place again. The Taliban are gone. These repressive measures are gone. This intense sense of economic stagnation is beginning to fall away, right? People are feeling like there's jobs coming in. There's money to be made. People feel like they can finally rise up out of poverty. But then you also have this invading force. The Afghan people, and especially people in the countryside of Logar, they're very proud people. They don't want to see an invading army, these odd white guys like roaming throughout their villages, armed to the teeth with whatever weapons they have, and also oftentimes very sort of trigger happy and afraid of the people as well.
In February 2020, the United States and the Taliban, they signed an agreement for bringing peace to Afghanistan after more than 18 years of conflict, actually the longest war America's ever been in.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this?
At the time, it seemed like something that would have been impossible to have predicted, 5 years ago. I found it to be an incredibly hopeful sign. It felt almost like a miracle to me at the time that this could be possible, that peace in Afghanistan could be possible again.
There are many experts who are saying that the Taliban has already broken their agreements with the United States. What are your thoughts on this?
It has been incredibly disappointing to see the violence ratcheting it up. Now we're entering into the phase where there's direct talks between the Afghan government and the Taliban. At this point, I'm just hoping that at some point both sides are going to realize that this ongoing warfare, it's just leading to more deaths, it's just leading to more loss, and ultimately it's going to benefit neither side.
Let's go back to your novel, 99 Nights in Logar. Somebody reads the novel. What do you want them to learn from this?
That's a good question. I think more than anything, what I want to come through with this novel is not only, for the reader to understand the incredible beauty of Afghanistan, the incredible beauty of this particular village in Afghanistan, but I also want my reader, and especially my American readers, to sort of begin to understand the ways that this occupation and the ways that the ongoing warfare has so warped and so shaped and so negatively impact the lives of the people in Afghanistan, but especially the lives of children. This one of the most heartbreaking things that I think I've sort of had to witness throughout my life is seeing that these cousins who, when I went to Afghanistan, first one in 99, meeting them when they're just like, little children, 6 years old. Then again, when I'm, 12 years old, I'm seeing them like grow into sort of adolescence. And then watching the ways that their lives have been shaped and irreparably altered by this war. It's so deeply heartbreaking to see the ways that violence has changed their lives and forced them into these terrible, terrible situations. And I wanted that to come through in this novel.
One of the chapters in the book is actually written in Pashto. How did that come about?
This was a chapter that I knew was sort of at the heart of the novel itself. It was a chapter that I'd been sort of dreading having to write. It's rooted in this actual tragic event that happened in my family's life. And when I got to that point, I kept trying to write it and it just wasn't coming through. I couldn't capture that profound sense of loss. I couldn't get the characters right. I couldn't get the movements and the language correct. And I began to realize perhaps this actually isn't my story to tell. Pashto, it's in many ways, it's a dying language. It belongs to people that have been for centuries harassed and oppressed. And what ended up happening was that I asked my father directly, would you actually mind telling this story from your own point of view, word for word? It was difficult for him, but, fortunately, he's always been very supportive of my work and of my career in general. And so ultimately, he decided that he would. And of course, my father, he speaks Pashto. That's his native language. That's the language he tells all his stories in. And I thought, go ahead and tell it in Pashto. And so he told it in Pashto, and translating it into English, it felt wrong to me for some reason. I couldn't even place what exactly it was. But so much of the novel, it contends with these issues of translation and representation and what can be known and not known. And so I got to the point where I thought, I'm actually just going to leave it in his exact voice, in Pashto, in that script. And that's how I'm going to leave it in the novel. And I think I just went in hoping that like my reader would sort of understand that the story had to be told in this way.
Where can people find out more about you and 99 Nights in Logar?
You know, I've got my own website, www.jamiljankochai.com. That's where I update most of my writing and whatever other events I can do. And then, you know, I'm on Twitter at Jamil Jan Kochai. And those will probably be the two best resources for finding out all things Jamil. I always try to stress as much as possible, seeking out your local independent bookstore. It's also available on bookshop.org, which is a great website, very handy. The proceeds from their website goes to your local bookshops.
Are you working on any other books?
I'm currently working on a book of short stories.
We always like to end our interviews by asking our guests what their American dream is. Tell us what your American dream is.
What I dream about is that someday peace will arrive in Afghanistan and in Logar. And that I hope that as much as possible, I'll be able to go back and live there and to perhaps study or teach there.
Well, Jamil Jan Kochai, thank you very much for coming on. Author of 99 Nights in Logar. Check it out at your local bookstore. His first novel out and hit it out of the ballpark. So congratulations to you and thank you for coming on and spending some time with us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
All right, let's put 50 seconds on the clock. Like anything is going to be different than last week, it's 50 seconds on the clock, 9 questions. The only difference is we're going to actually do it.
Yes, we are.
Let's do it.
Can a parolee renew parole status?
Yes.
Can an I-130 holder wait for his green card in the U.S.?
Of course.
Can I apply for an SB1 visa if I haven't been to the U.S. for 10 years?
You can try, but doubtful you'll get it.
How long does it take to approve a U visa?
Years and years and years.
What happens if you overstay your green card?
You're out of status. Oh, green card, nothing. There's no overstay on the green card. Go.
Are people adopted from abroad American citizens?
If they're adopted by American citizen and they get their green card, yes.
Should I send in my N400 form while I'm waiting for my 751?
You can if you want, if it's more than 3 years since you got your conditional.
Do I need a sponsor if my income is over the poverty level?
Yes.
Can a Canadian qualify for 601 for extreme hardship?
Yes.
Whoa!
I didn't think we were going to do it.
Done.
Oh, I saw your face.
I didn't think we were going to do it. I said the bomb's about to explode. But we did it, man. We did it. But I got to hear that last question one more time. I got to make sure I got it right. Because then if we didn't do it, then Julian can blow me up. What was that last question?
Can a Canadian qualify for a 601 for extreme hardship?
Of course. The answer is yes. Let's do it. All right, balloons now. I got them all right.
Yes.
But I thought that we were gonna blow up. Did you think we were gonna blow up? Did you think we were coming back from this? I did. I thought this was blow up city.
I knew it because I saw our questions. I was like, he can do this.
Yeah.
He can.
It was like right at the last second. It was like a huge comeback.
Question. I knew we were gonna have it. I just didn't want you to hold on to the answer.
Let me tell you, with about 12 seconds to go, everybody was betting against us. We had 2 to go with about 12 seconds to go.
We finished strong.
All right, comments of the day. Comments.
So Sam, as part of the production, we have to say
No,
this
it's not part of the
disclaimer.
production, Sam. Comments of the day. We have ghost comments of the day. That was like kind of like ghosty.
Right.
Yeah, I think
All right,
I
first
think
comment
Sam
of the
I think
day.
Sam is mad at Malawa or whatever the rodent's name is. Like, wants a little attention. What was the name of
Probably
what was the name of the rodent? Malawa?
Something like that.
Something
Didn't
like
get
that.
the invitation to the party.
All right, whatever the rodent was who retired, Sam is a little
You
jealous.
didn't get an invitation
Yeah,
to the retirement party.
nah.
I told you.
Yeah.
All right. First
Magawa,
comment of the day,
Magawa.
guys.
First comment
Yes,
of the day.
first-
Yes.
First comment of the day comes from Axel Lawson saying, "Hello from Wisconsin. I'm just happy my state is mentioned somewhere."
We mentioned Wisconsin. That's right. The guy ran the cow story. The cows surrounded. Cows surrounded the guy who was running from the cops.
Happening there in Wisconsin.
Yes.
A lot of interesting things happening there, Axel.
All right, next.
Okay, and our next comment of the day, we only have 2 today, comes from Paulette Bryce Cameron saying, Brad, I thank you for helping us with your service to immigrants, free answers to our complicated questions and cases. Brad, you answer our questions. You explain everything so well. No one can do your job like you. We thank you and your staff for everything. You helped my mom. She passed away on April 21st of this year. God bless you. She was able to live a little bit of the American dream.
Oh, wow.
Thank you again. Oh, wow.
That
That's
is really nice. Very nice. I'm glad that she was able to leave at least a little bit. My condolences on your mom.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry to hear that. By the way, before we leave, you know what my favorite movie quote about Wisconsin is?
What?
You know, I have a favorite movie quote about Wisconsin.
You have a favorite movie quote about anything?
About Wisconsin. You know who Bill Murray is?
Yes.
Okay. You ever see
From
the
Ghostbusters, right?
Right. But he was in another movie after Ghostbusters called Stripes, when he joined the Army, and he was in this secret tank that the U.S. Army made in 1985 or 1986. And his drinking buddies got caught on the opposite side. At that time, there was the Iron Curtain between the United States and the Soviet Union and all the Eastern Bloc countries. And the drinking buddies got caught somewhere over the border on the Soviet side. So he wanted to take his tank and go in and get the drinking buddies. And whoever was the co-star of the movie says, "You can't go there. That's invading Eastern Europe." And he goes, "What are you talking about? It's like going to Wisconsin. We zip in, we zip out. It's nothing." So it's like going to Wisconsin. We zip in, we zip out. It's nothing. There you got it. All right, we'll see you all tomorrow.
That was all for act.
All for 5 minutes of nothing. All right, we'll see you all tomorrow. It's late. Let's go. Tea time tomorrow. Peace out. So, Sam, as part of the production, we have to say this disclaimer at the end of the show. Do you mind reading it for me?
Okay, but you know, Brad, I have to do everything around here. It's bad enough I've got to remember everything that happened on the episode from the previous day.
Forget it. I'll do it. The proceeding was information only and not specific legal advice. Consult an attorney about your individual situation. Prior successful results do not guarantee a similar outcome in the future. To make an appointment with the Spar and Bernstein law firm located at 225 Broadway in New York City, call 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. Easy to remember, 1-800-LAW-LINK. That's 1-800-LAWLINK. Once again, make a call to 1-800-529-5465. And of course, link up with the law offices of Spar and Bernstein, located at 225 Broadway on the 5th floor. If I were you out there, make the call, make the link, make the connection, make it Spar and Bernstein. 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-529-5465. And now, conveniently located in Hartford, Connecticut on 1 Congress Street. Visit us in Connecticut or in New York at 225 Broadway. That's 1-800-529-5465. 1-800-LAW-LINK. 1-800-529-5465.